What's up, YouTube? Danny Hype here. For all of you who don't know me, I'm a small-time streamer over on Twitch TV. I stream things like poker, blackjack, just various games I enjoy playing. However, today I'm here with my first ever deck profile, or at least my version of a deck profile, on the new trading card game Dragon Ball Super Galactic Battles. If you've been thinking about getting into this game, I suggest trying it out. I've been playing it with my friends for the last 2 weeks. It's super fun. What's not to love? It's Dragon Ball. Like, who doesn't love Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, any of that stuff? The artwork on the cards are insane. Some of the holographics and the super rare cards is just, they did a really good job. Even the packaging on the cards, the cards are high quality and the gameplay is actually really fun. I've been to 2 tournaments now. My record right now is 10-1. I came in first in one of the tournaments, going undefeated, and then the next tournament I switched up my deck, which probably I shouldn't have, and because I didn't really play test with it too much, and I ended up dropping one to a mirror match to another deck, and I still topped, but I didn't win the tournament, which was unfortunate. But that's okay. The game is still fresh. I still got to learn a lot. There's still so much to this game, and a new set's going to drop in the next couple of months, so I'm sure the game's just going to get more exciting. But yeah, so today I'm going to share with you my favorite character, my favorite card, and everything you need to know to play this deck, or just to get into the game very cheap, because today's deck is my favorite character, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Alright, so here is the start of our Vegeta deck when making one. We have our leader. It's one in your deck, and then, well, not in your deck, but one. You can only have one ruler. You can't side deck any other ruler. So once you choose, sorry, not ruler, leader. Once you choose your leader, that is your leader for the tournament. And in this case, we have Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Our extra cards. Remember, these are the staples that you need to play this deck, and then I'm going to show you what other cards you can fill in the gaps with. We got 4 Whis. I'm going to say that coercion. But this is every color has a counter card for the most part. The blues is tap 1 blue, counter, negate the attack, and then restand a mana. So basically, it costs nothing, which is actually pretty good because I've had 3 of them in my hand one time and only 1 blue, and I was able to negate all 3 attacks, which I needed to save myself from that game. Yeah, so it's like basically a free negate. It's a really good card. Basically, any deck you play, you should be running their negate card. The next one is Senzu Bean, which I believe is probably, I don't know, maybe not the most busted card, but it's a really good card. You pay 1 blue, choose up to one of your cards. It gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So that's a big thing. It's for the whole turn. So you put it on your leader, especially when your leader is when you're not awoken yet. So you're at 10. Actually, no. There's the situation where I was awoken. I was at 15, and my opponent had a bunch of 15k attackers and their leader on board. His first attack, I Senzu Beaned on my defensive step. I Senzu Beaned, so I had 20k for the turn. None of his guys could swing at my Vegeta without having to pump on his own, which he did. So every time he swung with 15, he kept dumping another card just to get an attack through to push his power to equal his mine. Because in this game, if your powers are equal, the attacking always wins. But yeah, so I basically negated 3 attacks, or at least made him dump more cards, a bunch of cards, just to attack my Vegeta. So this is really good on the defense, and it also lets you untap 2 energies. So if you only have 1 blue up on their first attack, you can Senzu Bean, untap 2 mana, and now you can have, you save mana for your counterattacks or any other comboing that you want, like the 10k one cost combos. So those are 8 extras. I usually like to play 12 extras, but with these ones, these are the main 8 that you need, and then you'll see the other ones, the other extras I show up later. Actually, maybe I'll just leave these here for now until we run out of room. My desk is a little small, so sorry about that. These are the 1-drops. King Kai. Every color has their 1K, or sorry, their 1-drop blockers. He's just like just a normal blocker, and they're honestly, these are, I feel, are underrated. We were playing with my friends. Some of my friends, they're kind of thinking, yeah, they're whatever. But later we realized these blockers are insanely good. They're always like a 1-drop and basically negate any attack. And it's just, yeah, it's great. It's great to have on the board. Especially, sorry, I should explain his ability. So his ability is you hurt yourself. So everybody starts with 8 health. You take a life from yourself, add it to your hand, and then he gains critical. And critical is whenever you attack your opponent, instead of their life card going to their hand, because that's what most cards do whenever you attack their opponent's leader. If they take the damage, the card goes to their hand. But with Vegeta, it goes straight to the drop zone. So that really helps, like a lot of just controlling the size of their hand. Because usually when you take a damage, you're like, oh, I took a damage. That's fine because I get this card to my hand to hopefully draw a better card to use later and defend for other things. But when it goes straight to the drop zone, you don't get that advantage. And so critical is actually, it's a really good ability right now. And he's the only one that can give himself a critical. The next card is Bulma, Bulma, God Tempter. So this one, I'm not sure how stable this one is quite yet, although it's because there are not too many other blue cards that I feel like you should just run it. What's good about it is it's a replacement card, because another deck that's out there is the Broly deck, and he makes you discard a lot of cards. So basically, whenever he makes you discard cards whenever he attacks. So you're always trying to get cards in your hand. So basically, I like to think of it as whenever I play a card, you get another card back to maybe even just to dump to the Broly when needed. You know, because if you're just playing, like if I just play this King Kai, and I don't really get anything in return except for its defensive abilities, and then I have to pitch a card later when that Broly attacks, and then my hand goes from 5 to 4 to 3, whatever. But with this one, if you play her, your hand goes from 5 to 4, back to 5, and then so you're kind of always just having that card, even if you don't want to dump it. But you know, obviously you're gonna have to dump it for the Broly effect. So basically, keeping your hand big and juicy is always nice. But yeah, so when she drops, she searches out a 4-drop Whis, which is only one of right now, which you'll see in a couple seconds, and just adds it to your hand. So yeah, and also she's great for just because once she's out, she serves her purpose. You get your Whis, and let's say their Vegeta attacks your Vegeta, and he crits himself, or hurts himself to give him the crit. He swings, you don't negate it, and he doesn't add any combos to it, so he's just a 10 to 10. She's already served her purpose and got you that card. Now she's serving another purpose where you get her, basically just combo her. She goes to the grave. You didn't lose a life from your Vegeta, and all you did was lose a Bulma, which she has already basically paid for herself. Same with this next card, Energy Boost Majin Buu. He's basically another replacement card. You play him 1-drop. When he comes into play, you draw a card. So this helps. Yeah, this again helps keep your hand intact, so you're not just playing cards and losing them. You're playing cards and gaining cards, which right now against Broly is very useful. And basically just getting cards is useful. And then once they're out, they're again another 5K blocker, or sorry, 5K combo card whenever you need. And that is very helpful. Another tip when playing this, if you have the choice between these 3 to playing on turn 1, most of the time you should play your, depending on the situation, obviously, but for the most part, I feel like you should play your Bulma. At least I had been, because you don't want to use your Majin Buu to draw into the Whis, whereas you can at least use this to thin your deck a bit, grab the Whis, and then later when you play this, hopefully you don't draw into a Whis, hopefully you just draw into something else that you need, or just something that's better. Because really you only need to play one Whis in the end, by the end of it, because once you play one Bulma, the other ones will either be, I don't know, well, obviously it's all situational, but for the most part I either use them for mana, or I search out another Whis and use that Whis for mana, because I usually only play one Whis during the game, just the way how long they go. So those are the 1-drops staples. The next staple is a 2-drop Piccolo. Now, Boost Attack Piccolo, he's basically every color has this card. It's just a 2-drop, but you never play it for its 2-drop. It's a 0 cost 10k combo card, and you draw a card from it. Stipulation is you have to have 4 or less life to be able to use this card. So in most decks, when you draw this early, they're dead cards, and you almost have to use them for your energy, because the game will take a while for you and for other leaders in particular to go to 4 health, whereas in the Vegeta deck, you're trying to hurt yourself because you're hurting yourself from 8, 7, 6, so you're actually going down obviously faster than your opponent. So this comes into play a lot sooner than theirs would, and these are game changers. These are so good. They're staple in every deck, but especially the Vegeta deck, because you hit your 4 life a lot earlier, and 10k and draw a card, and it's no cost. It's quite ridiculous. Yeah, it's a great card. The next card. So all these are just cards that help your hand, help you defend, and defending and just helping your hand. The next card is your first attacker, which is Assailant Vegeta. He is a 3-drop, 15k attacker, and he has critical. So same thing as your Vegeta. His is your Vegeta leader, but his is a built-in critical. So every time he hits the leader, they just lose a life straight to the drop zone instead of the hand, which is great. The next card, which is a staple, is the 4-drop Energy Boost Beerus. He's a great card. Kills anything. The stipulation is he's a 4-drop, but he really is a 5-drop, because when you play him on turn 5, you need to have 5 or more energy for his auto ability to kick in, which is when you have 5 or more energy, you KO a character. So yeah, like I said, turn 5 you play him, and he wipes anything off the board, and then he has double strike. So usually for the double strike though, I only like using this is for lethal. So when they have 2 life left, you can swing with him and not have to worry about them getting those cards to their hand, because if they can't guard that, then the game's just over. The next card is, I should have showed this one first of the 4-drops, is the Whis. I only run 3 because you don't really want to draw into this, and you don't really need. I really only ever play 1 if I ever play it. Sorry, I'm like covering these other cards. Whatever. So yeah, so 4-drop Whis. When it comes into play, you take 1 card from the top of your deck and add it to your energy. So it's just like a mana ramp. So you basically use her to search him, and then eventually play him on turn 4. And then afterwards, you can use this again. If you ever have more Bulmas, use them either for energy, or to search out another one and just use this one for energy later. But you never want to play more than 1 usually, because by the time, I'll explain it in a sec. And then so it's those ones, and then the last one, it's debatable whether this is a staple or not. It's a really good card though. Alright, so I'll throw it over here. Is the Overflowing Spirit SSGSS. Is that what it is? Holy crap! Son Goku. He also has critical. Again, on turn 5, his ability kicks in. It's a permanent. When you have 5 or more energy, this card gains 10,000 power, and it's only during your turn. So basically, he's a 25k attacker on turn 5 plus, and he has critical. So just another critical that helps and that pushes for really big numbers. The only reason I played 2 is because I've found when it comes to turn 5, 6 in that area, I really want to play Beerus, because they'll have something I need to get rid of. So I can play Beerus, get rid of it, and then use Beerus to attack. Yeah, so like the only time I feel like you'd ever want to use him over Beerus is maybe when they're at like 1 health. So you want the bigger numbers. But for the most part, on turn 5, I'm usually playing Beerus, and that's. But then again, even on turn 5, actually on turn 5 you won't play Beerus because he's only cost 4, and both their things kick in. So yeah, for the most part, I only play 2. If I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. But I don't want to see too many of him because he'll just end up being energy. Yeah, so these are the staples. I believe this is 35 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 8, 12. What am I doing? 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 30, 35, 36. So this is 37 cards actually. So 37 cards, which I believe are staple for the Vegeta deck. And then now I'm going to show you the other cards that I've been tinkering with that are interchangeable. I don't think I found the best one yet. I'm sure somebody out there has, but for the most part, I'm still playtesting. But yeah, I'll show you them right now. So those are the staples in the deck. Now the other cards that you can use to fill in those last 13 spots, or even for side decks that I think are good, are actually, it's either this one or the. I'll show you two cards that are going to be staple eventually. But this one's actually a really good card. I've been using it in my deck. I just didn't throw it in as a staple because there's another card kind of similar to it that I'm debating which one is better right now. But this one is Encouraging Presence Monoka, or Monoka, yeah, I guess. So it's activate main. Your leader card gains double strike, and you draw a card. So basically, he's a replacement card for himself. You use him, you get a new card, and now it just enhances his ability. So instead of them losing one with your crit, instead of them losing 1 HP straight to the drop zone, they lose 2, which is massive if they can't stop it. The only downside to this is if you have to play it during your activate main. So you have to play this. Also, you have to play your crit during the main, so your opponent kind of knows what you're about to do, and either prepare for it, they can counter it, and then basically when they counter it, it stops this card basically, which can be which could hurt quite a bit. But still, it's a replacement card at least, and it's great. And that's another big thing. When I was playing the tournaments, here's a tip for you guys. When you practice playing this game, go through the phases and actually say the phases out loud so you get used to the phases. So it's what I noticed a lot in tournaments is the phases go your main phase, then you go to battle phase. When you declare your attack, there's a window there where your opponent can counter or block, and then if they pass that priority, comes back to you, and then now you can combo, do all your combo stuff, and then do all your combo stuff, and then which you can't do this. You can't do this during your combo step. Once you go to the battle, once you declare your attack, you can't use this. So you have to do this before you declare your attack. So yeah, it goes counters, blocks, then your combo, then to their combo. So, but at a lot of the tournaments, I was playing at, a lot of people were misplaying. I know it's still early in the tournament, but people were going too fast, and they were, let's say I would swing, and then before I did my combos or anything, they'd be like, oh, I'll just combo with this. And then I'm like, in my head, I'll be like, well, first you're actually supposed to counter, and then I'm supposed to combo. But now they're just giving me free information, like, oh, you're willing to combo with all of that, or you're showing me this. So now I kind of was like, okay, well, I guess throw that card away because I wasn't going to do anything else anyways. So when you're practicing this game, just make sure to go step by step, and just in the beginning until you get used to it, because there was a lot of misplays, a lot of people playing too fast, revealing cards when they didn't need to, or comboing when they didn't need to, negating when they didn't need to. There are situations where I was at 10k, my attacker was a 10k, and the opponent was a 15k, and I guess he wasn't paying attention. I swung at his 15k, and obviously my 10 doesn't beat his 15, so I need to combo to kill him. So I would need to play something extra to be able to hurt or kill his battle card or leader. But before I could do anything, he would decide to throw, oh, I'm going to throw down this combo card, or basically when I do that, I'm just trying to bait out negates. If I attack, he has the option to negate, and then if he negates the attack, then it's like, oh sweet, you just wasted a negate, and I didn't actually plan on doing it anyways. Whereas, but there's other times where I would attack, and then they would assume the attack would go through, or they would assume I was going to combo, and they would just start comboing and just kind of wasting cards or dumping cards, and I'm like, well, you should slow down. And then, you know, I try to help them out afterwards and tell them, or just tell them during the games that you guys just go through the phases, don't try to act so quickly, because you don't want to reveal your hand and give your opponent any kind of advantage. So yeah, when practicing this game, that's the biggest tip for you. Just go through the phases. Remember, counter, when you declare your attack, they get counter blocks, your combo, their combo, and yeah, and you got to look at these activate mains, because there's cards that are activate battle and activate main. This is an activate main, so you have to do it before your battle, before you declare your attack. And activate battle, you do that during your priority on the battle during the battle phase. Sorry, enough about that. That's my quick little tip for when you are playing. So yeah, this is another card that is great. to add to your deck. Oh yeah, so when I was showing you the deck, there's still more staples that need to go in the deck, but this is kind of preference or what you think is best is your boss cards. For the most part, you will probably need to play maybe one boss card. Not all the time though, depending on your matchup. There's a lot of times where that Beerus was my finisher, like the 4-drop Beerus was my finisher, and I didn't really need to play anything else. But you have to at least have some options for you. So there's one. He is a 5-drop Vegeta, Prince of Speed. He has an evolve ability, so you can play him on turn 4 if you like, but you don't need it for his ability, which is when this card comes into play, if you have 5 or more energy, you draw 2 cards, which is just great for hand advantage, and he has double strike. The next one is God Charge Vegeta. He also has an evolve, so 6 or evolve for 5. But I don't know, around that time I don't really want to evolve if I have my guy out, mainly because the other guy's another attacker and he's just as he's great, and I have enough mana usually to pay for this anyways. But he has dual attack crit, so dual attacks, he attacks twice and he has crit, which is a great ability. And then if you do want to evolve him, if for whatever reason they have a lot of blockers that you can't get rid of, you can evolve him and get rid of all their blockers. Basically, it pops their blockers back to their hand. So it is situational, but for the most part, if they don't have blockers, I'd rather just play him than evolve. The next one is this one, which you would want to evolve if you ever get the chance. He's a triple strike, 6-drop, 1-hit destruction Vegeta. His permanent is basically if you have a Vegeta on field and you have 7 energy, you can evolve him for free. So basically, it just comes out for free, and then you can save your 7 mana to play him or play whatever else. So that's actually a really great card. Really good boss card if you have the Vegeta. The next one, which is probably the main boss, is Beerus, the General of Demolition. He is probably the best card. Well, at least I think of all the bosses, probably the best boss of all the things, of all the boss cards for all the colors. 7-drop, triple strike. When Beerus attacks a leader, you gotta remember that too, because I saw a lot of people playing it as when you play him, this ability goes off, but it's actually when you attack with him, his ability goes off, and when you attack, your opponent they have to discard 2 cards. If they don't discard 2 cards, they basically wipe their whole field. They lose all of their energy and they lose all of their battle cards. So basically, if they don't have 2 cards in the hand, you win the game when he attacks. And even if his attack is negated, remember when you negate an attack, their auto abilities, all auto abilities, when it says when this card attacks, still go off. You stop the attack, but the auto ability still hits the chain and it still goes off. So he still gets his ability. So he's basically a game ender. If they only have 1 card in hand, it's basically, yeah, you win. And then if they have 2 cards in hand, well, you don't win, but I don't know. At that point, they're pretty sunk. So these are staples in the deck. Not all of them, but whatever boss you prefer or you like, he's probably the main one. And then these ones are all situational, I feel. But he is definitely the main boss card. I haven't decided how many boss cards I like playing in my deck. Usually, I've been just doing 4 right now, because obviously you don't want to see these cards early. And for the most part, my 4-drop Beerus is usually my game ender. So it's kind of a preference or what you like, but he is probably the main one. So those are the boss cards. Sorry, and these are the other cards that you can consider putting into your deck. Objection. Getting mixed reviews about Objection. Some people say it's bad. Some people enjoy it. The bad thing about it is when you play it, you have to ditch a card from your hand. So it's like you're negating 1 card into your, and then it's a mana ramp. You play it and you get an extra card, which it's obviously good because you want the energy advantage, but then it's bad because you lose a card. However, I find with Vegeta, because whenever you sack one of your life to your hand and you're drawing, and then when you flip early, you get two more cards, and then after that, every time he attacks, you get a card. I always feel like I have like 20 cards in my hand, and I can spare one for energy. So that's why I don't mind it. I haven't tested too much with it yet. I have, but I've been kind of switching in and out of it, and I haven't determined whether I really like it or not. But I'm leaning towards liking it, even though I feel it's like a neg card. I feel like when I make my main deck, this is gonna be part of it. This one, I just like this card. He's hilarious. I made a blue-yellow deck, and with the Frieza, and then with Frieza, her ability is the Golden Frieza. You just sack one of your yellow Frieza army cards, and you untap a mana and draw a card. So then by the time turn 3 hits, you usually sack your guys anyway, so you have nobody on board, and his ability is when he comes out, if he's the only one out there, your opponent you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and just put it on top of their deck, basically making them draw that card again and having to play it again or whatever. So I just thought it was really funny, and he's worked wonders for me. But in a straight blue deck, I wouldn't, just because you have a lot of those 1-drop weenies that might not get cleared off the board, and he eventually becomes, if that's the case, he becomes a dead card. But it's a fun idea. This one, Ultimate Judgment Jacko. So all colors have a card like this, where it is because a lot of these, some of the cards are blue leader specific or something specific, but every color has one card that is not specific like that. And blues is Ultimate Judgment Jacko. So when you combo with this card, choose one card in your opponent's combo area and return it to the hand. So basically, you only do this on defense. When they attack and they combo with a bunch of cards, you can just pop this one down, pop one back, and then their combo is basically kill their combo cards. Not kill them, but stop their attack, like 9 times out of 10. The only reason I don't like him as much is because it's a defensive card, and with Vegeta, I feel like I'm usually on the aggro side of it. I'm not playing too much defense. But it is still a really good card, and all 4 colors have one, which I'll show you right now. So that's blues. Greens is this one, which is also a good card. So you can remember. So what I was saying before is it's not leader specific. So you could, if you like this card, you can play this in any card, red, green, or yellow, and you wouldn't need the mana because it's a colorless mana. Or actually, sorry, this one specific is 0. Sorry, not mana, 0 energy. So you can basically play this whenever. With Gohan, again, it's 1 colorless energy to use his ability. He gets plus 5k combo, and then during your turn, when you combo with this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 3 or less and KO it. So this could be a good side deck card, because if you're playing against a deck that has a bunch of 3-drop weenies or something that they need out there, something that's really important that's not as easy for us to kill in blue, because we don't have too many kill cards besides that Beerus, and you need to get rid of certain cards, putting this in your side deck and teching it in and for game 2 would be a really good idea. And this is a green card. I don't know if you can tell from the lighting, but it is a green card. Shoot, I actually don't have the yellow ones on me, but the yellow one is the what is his name? Crap. 1 second, folks. Yeah, the yellow one is Zarbon. He is the yellow one's combo card, and during your opponent's turn, when you combo with this card, you can just reactivate one of your cards, and it's kind of situational. I don't really find too much use for it now, because the only thing that would help is if they're trying to attack, let's say, your 3-drop Vegeta, your Assailant Vegeta, and you combo this to stop the attack, and then you kind of just put him back into active mode, because that's what after you combo with this, you put one of your cards in active mode, and then they can't attack it again afterwards. So that's like maybe the only use, but I don't think it's that important. But I don't know, if you're finding you need that situation, then that's possibly a good card for you. Now the main one, the red one, probably has the best one for our deck, which basically, actually, honestly, this almost feels like a staple, but you don't need to play it. But it's close. It's borderline staple. Is the Reds combo card. So this one is one colorless, 10k combo boost. When you combo with this card, choose one of your attacking cards. It gains double strike for the duration of that battle. So that means everybody so it's basically like this card, but this one's only leader specific, and you have to play it during your activate main so they can counter it, right? But this card, you can throw on Goku. So now all of a sudden you throw this on Goku, he is now a, because of his other effect 25, he's now a 35k double strike crit, which is ridiculous. You can't guard 35k without dumping your hand in the first place. And then the fact that you get double strike crit, insane. And then also on the Vegeta double strike, he's now 25k double strike crit, and then you can throw it on your leader, who's whatever k, double strike crit. Double strike crit is just ridiculous. And the reason that this card is better than this card, in a sense, this one is a replacement card. It at least lets you draw a card, but one, it doesn't give you a power, and two, you have to play this during your activate main. Whereas this card, this beautiful card here, you play it during your combo phase. So let's say you swing with whoever. Let's say you swing with let's say you swing with this Goku, and they declare their intention to either counter or block. They're thinking, you know what? It's a 25k critical. I'm only taking one. I guess I can spare this one. Opposed to Vegeta. I can probably block his or do something to counter, or I can stop his or something like that later words, or something like that. Or they want to save their counters for something they feel is bigger, just because this is such a big number that they don't want to dump cards to or whatever, and they'll just let it pass. Let's say. All of a sudden, it goes to combo phase, so they can't counter you anymore. You throw this on top, and now all of a sudden they're scrambling to say, "Oh crap, I need to combo this card. I need to stop this attack going through." So now they could have just used a 1-card negate, but now all of a sudden they have to debate whether they want to lose 2 cards straight to the drop zone, or dump a lot of their cards in their hand just to stop this card now, when they could have just done it with 1 negate card. But they pass their priority for that, right? So now it's like a surprise attack, especially if you're going from lethal to, let's say they have 2 health left and you swing with this guy and they're like, oh, I can take that. I'm safe for this 1 damage for whatever reason. And like, actually, no, you're not. Boom. So they missed that's the biggest thing, is they can counter this. They can't counter this. That's the reason that this card is a borderline staple. And the fact that you don't need, it's colorless. You can play it in any deck. Probably more specifically good for this deck because of the critical. Double strike is a good ability, but when you do get it off, the opponent gets 2 cards to their hand. So yeah, you hurt them for 2, but So that's so that one's a really good card. Oh shoot, this is another boss card too. I forgot to mention. God Breaks Son Goku. He is another another boss card that you can. It's kind of you can evolve him, but you don't need to. He's double strike, and then your opponent can't counter. They can't activate counters on him against this card when he attacks, and can't activate blockers during this card. So basically, he gets to swing in for a huge number, and they can't really stop it. So if they're ever at 2, like double strike, 2 health, whatever, and they have a counter, this is probably a good. That's a safer finish because they can't counter him. Now, these are the cards that you can throw into your deck, and this is mono blue. But this is probably the best one. This is a good side deck card. This is the best main deck card, and these ones are more situational. If you find yourself on defense a lot, this is a great card. Like this would be great against this. Like this counters this pretty hard, and stuff like that. But yeah, so those are those cards, and my thoughts on those. And the last bit of cards. So now this is if you're just mixing cards, and if you don't really know too much about the game. Every card has its counter. Every color has its counter cards. Actually, yellow doesn't have a counter, but it has Crusher, which is insane, I think. But this one is just negate the attack and restand one of your characters or your battle cards. And this one's negate an attack. This is the red one. The green one's negate an attack and kill a 1-drop. So this is actually really good when they attack. You can kill like their 1-drop blockers for later, or just get rid of a 1k booster guy that they could use. So that's a pretty good one. That's it. These are only if you're mixing colors though, because you actually need to pay their costs. So if you do decide to go blue, red, blue, green, I don't know if 8 counters is the way to go, but you definitely would want to. If you're going to mix in a color, you'd probably want to put more of these counters in your deck if you're gonna splice colors. And then the yellow one is it's not a counter attack, but it's a counter play. When they play the card, they come into you counter them and they play them to rest, which I found, which saved me a lot when I played with when I did a blue-yellow deck, because they play a big drop, you just rest it, and then you can deal with it later. So those are the extra cards that you can debate on whether you feel is the best for the deck. Yeah, so that is my take on the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta deck. If you guys want to see more deck profiles, more thoughts on other decks, let me know in the comment section. Just I really enjoy this game. It's a really fun game. If you're considering getting into it, like, this deck is really cheap. Like, all these cards are really cheap, except for maybe the boss cards, but you don't need a full playset of them. So yeah, the game is relatively cheap to get into. It's really fun. It's Dragon Ball. Like, who doesn't love Dragon Ball? And the artwork on these cards are just ridiculously insane. They're so nice. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up in the comment section. Maybe check me out on Twitch when I stream one of these days and say hi. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully this wasn't too long, and I'll see you guys next time.